All right, let's jump right into this. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a legendary business fable known as the parable of the pipeline. We're going to contrast the sheer, exhausting grind, active labor with the sleek, wealth-generating efficiency of building automated systems. Whether you're an entrepreneur, an employee, or just someone looking to, optimize your time and income, this story hits the nail on the head. It holds a genuinely profound lesson about how we actually choose to spend our days. So, let's get into it.
Picture this, a quaint, beautiful little village. It's an absolutely wonderful place to live, except for one massive, glaring problem. This place has absolutely no water unless it rains. I mean, literally none. So to solve this existential crisis once and for all, the village elders decided they needed a permanent solution. They put out a call for contractors, basically asking for bids to deliver a steady, daily supply of water to the village. Which brings us to a really interesting question. How would you reliably solve this problem?
Well, two eager guys stepped up to volunteer for this monumental task. Their names were Ed and Bill. Now, the village elders actually made a highly strategic move here. Instead of just picking one guy, they awarded daily delivery contracts to both Ed and Bill. They figured, hey, a little friendly competition is going to keep prices low for the villagers, right? Plus, having two contractors ensures a solid backup supply of water just in case anything went south.
Section 1. Ed's Bucket Business. Let's look at how Ed decided to tackle this problem right out of the gate. Ed was a total man of action. He immediately ran out, bought two heavy-duty galvanized steel buckets, and got straight to work. His business model was super simple, but honestly, incredibly grueling. He just started running back and forth to the nearest lake, which was a full mile away. He'd haul the water back, agonizing step by step, and empty it into this large concrete holding tank the village had built. Every single morning, Ed had to force himself out of bed long before the rest of the village even woke up, just to make sure there was enough water for everyone to start their day. It was incredibly hard, back-breaking work. But, despite the sheer exhaustion, Ed felt totally triumphant. He was thrilled because he was making money immediately. I mean, from dawn to dusk, every single trip meant cash in his pocket. Plus, he felt this incredible sense of job security. Why? Because his competitor, Bill, the guy who won the second contract, had completely disappeared. Bill literally wasn't seen for months, which meant Ed had a total monopoly. In Ed's mind, he had already won the whole shebang. Section 2. Building the pipeline. This is where things get really interesting, seeing what Bill was actually up to while everyone thought he was just missing in action. So Bill took a completely different path. Instead of rushing out to buy buckets to compete with Ed, he sat down and wrote a business plan. He created a corporation, went out and found 4 investors to fund his vision, and even hired a president to oversee the work. Talk about thinking big, right? After 6 months of planning and financing, he finally returned to the village, but not with buckets. He brought a heavy construction crew. And over the course of the next year, his team methodically built this massive, high-volume stainless steel pipeline connecting the distant lake directly into the center of the village. Bill wasn't chasing that immediate payday. He was building a system.
Section 3. The Grand Opening. Let's fast forward to the celebration of Bill's project and see how it completely flips the village upside down.
This grand opening brilliantly illustrates the massive competitive advantage Bill had engineered. See, Ed's bucket system was pretty flawed. Because he was hauling it by hand, the water was actually kind of dirty, which the villagers had been quietly complaining about. On top of that, Ed only delivered Monday through Friday because he just didn't want to work weekends. But Bill? He turned on his pipeline and outflowed crystal clean water. And because it was entirely automated, that water flowed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It was a vastly superior product and a way better service all around.
But here is the absolute kicker: the pricing. At the opening, Bill announced he would charge 75% less than Ed did for this higher quality, incredibly reliable water. Yep, 75% less. As you can imagine, the villagers absolutely lost their minds. They cheered and immediately abandoned Ed, running straight for the faucet at the end of Bill's new pipeline. Literally, in a single day, Bill captured the entire market.
Section 4. Buckets versus pipelines. So what happens next? Let's see how the bucket carrier tries to fight back against the pipeline builder.
Ed goes into a total panic. He tries to compete the only way a bucket carrier knows how, by simply working harder. He immediately slashes his rates by 75% just to match Bill. To try and make up for that massive drop in revenue, he buys 2 more buckets, slaps covers on them to keep the water clean, and starts agonizingly hauling 4 buckets per trip.
He even dragged his two sons into the business to work the night and weekend shifts, telling them, "Hurry back from college because someday this business will belong to you." While, spoiler alert, when his boys went off to college, they realized how miserable the bucket business was, and they never returned. Eventually, poor Ed even faced employee and union problems. The union demanded higher wages, better benefits, and get this, a strict rule that members could only haul one bucket at a time. Ed's frantic attempt to scale his physical labor just led to compounding stress and lifelong financial headaches.
Meanwhile, Bill is over here looking at the much bigger picture. He realizes something incredibly profound. If this one little village had a water problem, then thousands of other villages around the world must need water too, right? So, with his automated system running flawlessly in that first village, Bill easily pivots. He rewrites his business plan to take his high-speed, high-volume, low-cost delivery system global. Now, you might be wondering, how on earth does Bill make any money if his prices are so incredibly low? Well, it's all about scale. Because of the massive size of his global operation, Bill only needs to make a single penny per bucket of water delivered. That's it. When you build a pipeline, you don't need massive profit margins on a single unit, because the sheer volume of the system is doing all the heavy lifting for you. And that volume is absolutely staggering. We're talking billions of people consuming billions of buckets of water every single day. And every single time someone turns on a faucet, a penny flows directly to Bill. All that money just pours into his bank account whether he's actually working or not. He could be sleeping, traveling, hanging out with his family. It doesn't matter. Bill didn't just build a pipeline for water, he effectively built a pipeline that delivers money straight to himself. He lived happily ever after, while Ed, the bucket carrier, worked brutally hard for the rest of his life and suffered financial problems forever.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to take a hard look at your own life, your career, your business. Are you trading your precious time and physical energy for a direct, limited payout, kind of like Ed? Or are you taking the time, maybe delaying that immediate gratification, to build scalable assets like Bill? It's the ultimate question to ask yourself today. Are you carrying buckets, or are you building a